Welcome to Future Role Model, a podcast that praises the unconventional and redefines what it means to be a role model. I am your role modeliest host, Natasha Pearl Hansen. And I finally got in the studio today, Tony Baker.
Yeah.
Dude.
Finally.
I met Tony years ago at the first Big Sky that we were at, because you were second place on that one. That was such a fun year.
It was fun.
That was 2014, I think it was.
Not was it?
That was 2014.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how long it's been. And in 2017, we were both at Big Sky again.
Mm-hmm.
Tony left his iPod there, and I grabbed it for him.
Yes, thank you.
And today, in a year and a half later, it is finally being returned.
We finally, you know what I'm saying? It was like the iPod, and life happens.
This damn iPod is like covered in dust. It's like in the original packaging from the hotel.
It's biblical at this point. This is an artifact.
Yeah, it is. It could be the next generation's Bible if we left it sitting any longer.
Man.
What's been going on with you, man?
Nothing. Like, I've been working like crazy. I've been doing a tour. I did the Real Comedians, a social media tour last year, and then we're doing another one this year. So I just been on the road. Like,
were you a part of putting that together?
No, actually, Kevin Fredericks, Kev on Stage is his social media handle. He put it together. He was just like, instead of waiting on the clubs to, book you when you get some heat, he was just like, because he already had a fan base from his YouTube and his all deaf stuff. So it was like, why not just do it myself? So he would rent out the venues himself. And then just
pack them out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh man, that's beautiful.
And if you can do it, I mean, that's really the way to go. That's what I do on my own tours because, then you're not indebted to anybody.
Right.
You can keep track of numbers yourself.
Absolutely.
I mean, I watched you kind of, not even kind of is the wrong word, but like from Big Sky the first time, take a lot of your career into your own hands and build a following on your own. Right. By shooting sketches and doing clever comedic things for Instagram. Right. And it has been awesome to see.
Yeah, it was just, I just hate waiting on people. It was just like, all right. Because that's the name of the game in Hollywood. Wait to be discovered.
Wait around.
Even now, like when I sell like my comedy specials myself, people are still like, when's your Netflix special though? I'm not waiting for Netflix.
Yeah.
I could be a skeleton by the time they discover me. And
Exactly.
Like, why wait?
No, that's why I was just talking with Paul about that before starting, but I'm shooting my own special next month. And people are like, who's doing it for you? I'm like, me.
Yes.
Myself.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, what am I supposed to pay somebody a bunch of money to come and shoot it for me? I just want to, I know exactly my crew and we'll just do it right. And do it how I want it. Yep. And that's it.
And that's the beauty of the internet now. We have more control over our own careers now.
Yeah.
We can just tap into the audience ourselves.
Yeah.
Without having to wait like, I hope I get discovered.
Exactly.
Right.
How did you end up starting to build that out for people that might be wanting to?
With me, like, when I first got on Instagram, I was really it was Instagram. Like, I was taking pictures of what I saw. Like, initially, like, this is a cool artwork. This is a cool visual. And then, you started seeing people putting up content via Vine, like people were doing Vines heavy.
Yep.
And then, Instagram slowly changed. They would do 15 seconds. Then they went to the minute. And so I was like, well, those are cool. Cause I was shooting like sketches like that back in like 98, 99 in college. So I was like, I always had an affinity for it. So, I was like, let me just start doing it. And I didn't want to do can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
I didn't want to do I didn't want to build my fan base with the ass and titty comedy.
Yes.
Like, a lot of cats would use just, good looking women or whatever, their bodies or whatever to get people to click on the video. And so I was like, I don't want to go that route. So, I just made sure to, stick to the comedy more or less.
Yeah.
And so, cause easily you can get beauty to bring people in, but then like if you don't have a pretty girl in your next video, they're like, this is kind of boring.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean? So,
or if you don't have her sitting on stage next to you on your next tour, they're like, what is?
Like, I don't want to go that route. And so I was just creating like characters within my own sense of humor, sensibilities, like, and so I just kept doing that. And then was building the following that way. Just always putting out content. I treat my Instagram page like a TV network.
Yeah.
Like I always
smart.
have something for you to see on a daily basis. Whether it's a rerun, whether it's new, whether it's whatever, it's always something that you can come and check out. Mm-hmm. And so, and just be consistent.
Yep.
And that was the thing. Like, I just kept, doing stuff. And then, you build an audience that way, and then they get used to it.
Yep.
And they start hanging out. And I tell people that all the time. They be like, how do you? I'm like, be consistent. Like, it's a lot of people out here with tons of followers, and they've built a base. Even if it's not good,
Right.
they still have a huge base because they never stopped. And the people are like, I'll tell them that and be like, I just don't know how to do it. I just told you how to do it.
Just every day do something
Every
consistent.
day, whatever you're into, whether it's comedy, hair, cooking, talking about politics, whatever you do, just do it consistently. And then the audience will find you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. But then once I transitioned into voiceovers, that's when my numbers accelerated big time.
Doing your videos are so good.
That's what really it boosted everything. And so, because everybody loves animals.
Uh-huh.
And I've always been into animals. So it was just like, and we always had pets growing up. So I'd just be looking at them like, what are they thinking about? And so I just started doing that, and then I didn't know it was
simple.
It's so simple.
What a simple concept.
Yeah,
and it's fun to do. Like the more I've started, I don't do a lot of editing on my computer, but I've been getting into certain apps lately where I just play with stuff, because I film all my own content just like for stories and stuff. Right. And recently I had crashed a wedding. And I like a big one, and videoed the whole thing. And somebody was like, "Why don't you pitch that as a series? Like crashing, but of weddings and parties and events." And I was like, "Oh my God, I actually have done like 5 of these. I should do." So I edited it together and sent it out to some people, and they were like, "We really want to turn this into something." And I was like, I wouldn't have even thought.
Because it came from an organic place.
It came from an organic place.
Right.
And because I like legitimately love crashing shit so much that I...
That's where the success is. Like whatever you into, whether it's crashing weddings. Yeah. And then it just, everything comes together organically. A lot of people force it.
Yeah.
And then you can tell. It's like, oh, they forcing it.
Yeah.
But like when you really... doing something that you're into, it just shows, and people gravitate towards it. Mm-hmm. So crashing the weddings.
Genuine. Well, and then my special's happening on my wedding day.
Okay.
And it's called. I was supposed to get married today, so I'm like literally inviting the public to crash my wedding.
Wow.
To watch me do my special.
That's genius.
So I'm like, apparently this wedding non-wedding industry is like this weird niche that I found.
There's a market for everything.
There's a market for everything.
Wait, so you're doing the special on your wedding day?
On my wedding day. I'm not getting married. I'm not getting married. I'm wearing the jumpsuit I was going to wear.
Okay.
And some of my teachers, it's back home in my hometown area of Madison, Wisconsin. Uh-huh. So like a bunch of teachers from my high school and people from my high school are coming. Because like it's where I was supposed to get married.
Oh, so, got you.
It's at the venue.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait, you were supposed to get married, now you're not?
Yeah.
So you're just like, nah.
I'm we postponed once last year. Uh-huh. And then we postponed again because we just hit this engagement's really weird. I mean, have you been married?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's what I thought. You're not married now?
No.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Engagement's tough, and a lot of people want to just put their opinions in on you and tell you how to get married and how your relationship's supposed to go. And like, it's been the hardest time of our relationship.
Right.
So we were just like, fucking hit the pause button.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm stuck with this venue, so I'll figure out what to do with it.
Genius.
And so I was like, and after my Europe tour, I was like, I definitely can do an hour of material now. I wasn't sure if I could trust myself to shoot my first special yet. And I was like, you know what? I fucking can.
Yes.
So I'm doing it. And I'm putting it out myself.
Oh, the beauty. The beauty of our profession is that
our profession
we can do anything.
Anything.
We can do anything we want.
You can go anywhere and turn it into something that can make you some money somehow.
Yes.
So, I mean, we're just getting there slowly but surely.
Yes, man. We make a living by talking.
I know. It's kind of cool.
That's it. We just talk. I mean, that's how we make our living.
We talk and we say it and put it out there. Where did you grow up, Tony?
I grew up in Chicago, Illinois.
I knew that. That's right. Yeah.
I was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Grew up in Chicago, though. Mm-hmm. And then that's where I grew up, South Side.
Which part of the South Side?
They call it Bronzeville.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So all over there, like 36 between Wabash and Michigan, all the way up to like 79th and Champlain.
Yeah. Because my cousins all are at like 73rd Place in Damon, so just a little bit further west of there. Which is what is that called? Garfield Park? Not Garfield Park.
73rd and Damon.
I can't remember what the neighborhood's called.
Yeah.
It used to be really rough when I was younger, but now it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, because people just kind of give up on trying to rough up a neighborhood.
They'd be like, I'm tired.
They're like, I don't want to take any more hubcaps off these cars.
Yeah, after a while, crime gets old after a while.
Oh my God.
You just like, I'm tired of the illegal life.
And
I just want a coffee, man. I just want some Starbucks at this point.
This is what's so funny too is me and my cousin were joking about this, but the neighborhoods, like the people that used to be gangbangers get old.
They do.
And they can't gangbang anymore as much. My auntie she's always carried a gun on her.
Uh-huh.
She's almost 80 and she has MS. And last, I think it was in November, I was out performing around Thanksgiving time. My cousin met me and some other comics out before one of our shows at Laugh Factory. And I was like, hey, how's everybody? I haven't seen auntie in like, a couple months. And he's like, your auntie shot somebody, you know that? And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, somebody tried to act a fool in front of the house and she kept telling him to go away and he wouldn't. And she just pulls the gun out.
Wow.
Shoots him in the shoulder and he's fine.
Yeah.
That's why it was funny because like if he wouldn't have been, that would have been different. But
I mean,
when you find out somebody's okay and they're like, they're not damaged or anything.
It was a flesh wound.
Yeah, it was a flesh wound. And so then it was like, oh, okay, now he's alive. Cool. Now we can laugh about this.
Right.
And my cousin was like, nobody will fuck with our house anymore ever again.
No games.
That old woman will shoot somebody.
Yes. That's what you got to do in some neighborhoods, man. You got to shoot people in the shoulder.
The old people. You just got to give them the power. And then nobody will fuck with the neighborhood anymore.
Games. I'm 80 years old. I've been out here, man. Flesh wound. Get off my porch.
I was cracking. Are you kidding me? My auntie shot somebody.
Wow. That's a story.
I know, and it was definitely unexpected. It was like a table full of 15 of us, and I was like, that was the last thing I expected you to say, but great, now we have a conversation.
Can you imagine the conversation with your aunt? She's like, I shot somebody
I think she finally was happy. Like, she's carried this gun around for like 20 years and never had to use it, so I think she's finally like, okay, it was one-time charm.
Yeah, she's like, I'm good to go. She had one bullet in the chamber.
Yeah, exactly.
Saving it for that shoulder.
It was rusty, too. It was rusty.
It was a revolver?
Yeah.
Like she had the Wyatt Earp. She had the Doc Holliday. Yes.
So yeah, it's but I love Chicago. I mean, I loved starting comedy in Chicago, and you didn't.
You started in Chicago.
I started in Chicago. You did not, right?
I started in L.A.
Why did you wait? I mean, not that it matters, but
I didn't see myself as a comedian. Like growing up, I always wanted to act for sure because I love movies. I'm a movie fiend.
Yeah, and you're so animated and so
I love movies ever since I was a kid. Like I just remember watching. I equate my life history to like movies. What movies were out at what point in time.
Yeah,
and then I can trace all the memories accordingly. But like, it was like so I always wanted to act, and so growing up on the South Side of Chicago, it's far from Hollywood. It feels, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know they were shooting like movies out in Chicago like that. Especially like now they're shooting all the time.
Oh, now they're shooting all the time. But where I grew up, same thing. Like it wasn't laid out on the table for you. Like it was like when we filled out little surveys, it was like you can be a bus driver or a teacher,
right?
And you were
policeman. Okay, here.
Entertainer was not an option.
Yeah, it didn't seem real, and so I was just like, it's a pipe dream, and so. But I would watch Eddie Murphy Delirious, Richard Pryor stand up.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, I was Sinbad, Damon Wayans, Tommy Davidson, and I was just watching. But I never saw myself as a comedian. I still wanted to act. And then when I went to college, that's when I went to New Mexico State. Mm-hmm. And
what made you come all the way out west?
I'm the youngest of three boys.
Okay.
And my oldest brother, he went into the military. He joined the Air Force. Mm-hmm. And so his first orders were to Hawaii. He he didn't invite us out to Hawaii.
I was going to say.
Cost of living is bananas.
Yeah, Hawaii's expensive.
Hawaii. So his first 4 years in Hawaii, we still in Chicago. And then he got, his next orders were New Mexico. And he's like, why don't y'all come on out to New Mexico? My mom was born and raised Chicago. She was looking for a change. And I was down because I saw Terminator 2. And
I love that was your inspo.
That was because here's the thing. In Terminator 2, she had, Linda Hamilton had the dream that the war started. And I was like, if a nuclear war happens, no, it was a Nostradamus little movie piece. He predicted like the nuclear holocaust.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Chicago's going to be a target.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me get the hell out of here. New Mexico sounds like a good place to go.
That's like where the post-apocalypse lives. I feel like New Mexico and
they're always in the West.
Idaho.
Like they open up in New Mexico in the desert. You know what I mean?
That's where all the underground bunkers are, for sure.
And so I was like, I'll go to New Mexico because I was scared that the nuclear war was going to happen.
So funny.
Yeah, so that was my motivation. Like, sure. And so I went from Chicago to Clovis, New Mexico.
Oh my God.
Population 30,000.
I was just about to ask.
So I went from the third biggest city in America to Clovis, New Mexico. East New Mexico,
and
right on the border.
What the fuck was that transition like?
Oh, man. I was smelling like, cow shit for the first time. Like, through the city. It was just in the air. I was like, yo, what did I sign up for?
Yeah.
And Clovis, New Mexico is flat, so tornadoes.
Oh, yep.
We in the panhandle, so it's like tornadoes. I saw funnel clouds for the first time. I saw one touchdown. I'm like, yo, what did I sign up for?
Yeah.
And, even though Illinois is flat, Chicago didn't really have tornadoes like that.
Well, no, because it doesn't, the way the city is shaped, it doesn't really call for them. Flat ground is so, because I grew up in Wisconsin and tornadoes scare the shit out of me still.
It was a real threat.
They just come out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. You see it
literally
happening.
out of nowhere.
And it's an entity you can see. That's what I don't like.
And they just smash everything and then they go away.
Yeah,
it's like what?
It's like, you're not going to apologize?
Is that real?
No apologies. Just like, sorry, guys, I went off.
What a destructive piece of shit.
Man. And you can see it. That's what, like a hurricane, it's like, oh, it's windy. It's terrible, but it's like.
And you have time with that.
Yeah.
You know that's coming.
But when you can point and be like, the tornado is coming, and you can look and see it coming, oh, my God.
Yeah.
It changed my life when I saw that. I made eye contact with a tornado. I was like, what is this? And so, anyway, I went to New Mexico State. And that's when I started, I majored in psychology, though. Because it still seemed far away. Even though they started filming in New Mexico later on, Hollywood still seemed like a dream, kind of. And so, but I would make skits and scary comedy movies, just on my own with my friends for fun. And I was hosting pageants and talent shows and stuff like that. And people were like, "You're really funny." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." But I still wasn't thinking stand up. And then moved to L.A. in 2006 to pursue the dream because I started doing theater in New Mexico State.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I should have just majored in theater and went for it because I loved it. And so came out here, and then you think you're going to get discovered when you get off the Greyhound.
Oh, everybody does.
You think the director's going to be like, you.
Yeah.
You're who I was looking for the whole time. And so that's what you think. Then when you get here, it's like, oh, man, it's a sea of people. Now you're doing background work.
Yes.
And I was just like, oh, how do you stand out? And started thinking about the stand-up comedians that were stand-ups first, then they transitioned into acting.
Yeah.
Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, you name it. And so I was like, man, maybe stand-up is a way to get some
exposure. Attention, yeah.
I did stand-up one time, and I was like, this is what I was supposed to be doing. I love this.
Where'd you do it the first time?
At the Ha Ha, North Hollywood.
Yes.
Yep. At the Ha Ha.
How much
the old
time?
Ha Ha. I did 5 minutes.
Okay, that's pretty significant for your first set.
Yeah, it was because the Ha Ha, they give you pay $5, you can do 5 minutes on the open mic. So I did the 5 minutes. I went up there talking about the difference between L.A. and New Mexico, wedgies, and it worked. It was like a good first set. And then I went back every day after that.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep. And
so you started stand-up in 2007.
I started 2008.
2008.
Yeah.
Okay.
It took me a while to finally do it as opposed to thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I did a year of I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think a lot of people do that in their first year because I started in 2010 technically, but I didn't really start pursuing regular spots until 2011.
Okay.
But I had that year where I was doing like a spot a month or maybe two spots a month. And then I was like, oh, if I really want to get good at this, I need to be doing way more time than this. And then I started just, you know, but I think a lot of people hit that first, they have that first time and it goes decent. And then there's always that fear in the back of your mind, like, ooh, what if it doesn't go good?
Right.
Like, and that does happen eventually.
Oh.
And I think that's everybody needs to get both of those out of the way.
Yes.
A really great set, a really shitty set. And then you can just feel like, all right, now I can handle whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Do you remember your first shitty set?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
You kidding me?
What was it? Where was it?
I remember like it was yesterday. So I started at the ha-ha. So I was doing well. Like I was like, stand up is not too bad.
Yeah.
You know? And so I did the J Spot Comedy Club.
Yep.
It's a comedy club in Inglewood.
Yep, I've done that.
And so I went in there and did my normal routine, and then it was just like chuckles here and there. I was like, oh man. And I was like, that was the first L I took. And so I was like, man, like how do you get over this? Like, you know, and I immediately, like when I have a bad set, I immediately want to get back up. Because I don't want to sit in the feeling of, like, every time I have a bad set, even now, I think like, man, maybe I'm not that good at this. Maybe I should have stayed in school. Maybe as long as I've been 10 years in, a bad set will still have me second guessing everything.
Sure, yeah.
And
especially when you're in the caliber where you're like headlining and stuff, because you're like, I need to be able to carry this show.
Yes.
It's like getting a lead in a movie and like
you're the worst part of the movie.
Failing at it, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. and it was like, I was like, all right. But I still, and the longer I go without getting up again, I have to sit in that last loss.
Yes.
And so I'm just sitting in there. So I immediately had to go back to the J Spot and get revenge. I call it revenge.
Revenge on yourself.
Man, went in there, did worse than the first time. So I took the double L. I was like, let me get this revenge. Went in there for the revenge, failed on the revenge.
Ooh, that's painful.
Oh, man. The revenge L super hurts.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So then I started thinking, like, maybe I don't appeal to the black audience. Because it was like, because you know the ha-ha is racially mixed all the time.
Sure, yeah.
And so I was doing a lot of those kind of spots within the city, and I was like, maybe I don't relate to the black urban crowd. And you know, I always wanted that crowd.
Yeah.
I want everybody, but I always want to make sure I get the black audience, because if I screw up in life, you know, the general audience will turn on me. Mm-hmm. They'll be out of it. Like the white audience, if I screw up,
the white audience
canceled.
has
But the black audience will stick by you through the screw ups for a long time.
Yeah.
So like, I got to get them though. And so I had to beat that, you know. And I did. Like eventually, you know, I do Mo Better Mondays and like other hood spots. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then
the Comedy Union used to be one of my favorite spots to play here in LA.
Yeah. I was just there like this past weekend.
Really? I haven't played there in a minute, but it goes in waves. Like suddenly they'll ask me to do a bunch of shows and then they won't ask me for like a year.
Right. Yep.
But I've always, same, like, because I'm from a mixed background. And so, and there's part of me that'll dread like super white audiences too, which is bad to say, I guess.
Right.
But like, when I've gone to the South to play, I'm always like, oh, fuck. There's no diversity here. Like, they either are going to love me or hate me.
Right.
But I feel like black audiences are so open-minded to stuff.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know? Mm-hmm. And when I have a good set in front of an urban audience, I feel like I just won the world.
Man, it's a great feeling.
That's a good feeling.
Because when you get them, and you find something that connects with them personally, oh man, the energy is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's funny how different it is to play in front of different types of demographics. Like, I'm leaving on Wednesday of this week, the day after this comes out. This comes out tomorrow. I'm leaving to go perform in the Caribbean for the fourth time. This is the fourth time I've set up my own tour out there.
Oh wow! Dope.
And the first time I did it kind of too big. Like I had 3 spots on each island that we were playing, and on an island you just need one like really good day.
Okay.
To get like the entire pool of the audience out.
Okay.
Because if, when I did it the first time, I did like this side of the island and this side of the island and this side. I didn't realize, because I didn't know the island well enough, that one side was like all the white retired people, and one side was all the local people from the island who have never left it. And the other side is like people from the U.S. who are like 25 and moved here to have fun.
Okay.
So those were 3 audiences that were wildly different.
Right.
And
who was your favorite out of the 3?
The young one.
Okay.
The young crowd.
Yeah.
The local audience didn't have enough to pull from to know what I was talking about.
Okay. Yeah.
Outside of their own space.
They never left.
Yeah, they really hadn't left. And then the retired audience didn't want to hear anything about old people or anything negative, because they're like tighter. They were very tight. Man. And so I realized that, and I was like, okay, to have a good crowd, I need to make sure that I'm doing one big show and everybody comes. There's a little bit of everybody.
Right.
Because then it feels different.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the people that are natives to the island and the retired people will all laugh with the young people, and it's okay.
The energy, because laughing is contagious. So they're laughing. Oh, they're having a good time.
Yeah.
We have to get in on this as well.
Yeah.
And so everything blends together. What island is it?
It's St. Croix.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
You've never been there.
Dope.
It's beautiful, and it's so fun because it's not super commercialized like a lot of the other islands.
Beautiful.
So it's big. There's a lot of culture there. There's a lot of jungle and forest as much as there is beach. I mean, it's just really cool.
I love it. I gotta go.
Yeah, and so that's what's been the first time I did that was what opened up me wanting to challenge myself with tours overseas and stuff, like the one I just did. Because I was like, oh, I have to make sure that my humor works in front of all of these people from all different backgrounds. I can't just have it be like, 25 to 35-year-old white kids in Los Angeles. Like,
you want everybody.
You gotta get the whole demographic of the world.
Absolutely. That's always been my mindset with comedy. Like, I want everybody. And it's so rewarding because once you book a show, you don't want to feel like, oh man, I got to do a old retiree joint. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have material for that. You just want to be like, oh, I'm doing this. Cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't want to have to think about the audience or changing for your audience. So I mean, if you can get rid of that as quick as you can, you know, that's it's definitely work on our end to have to.
Oh man, I seen comedians just flatline. They be like, I got to do what? I got to do a clean show.
Yep. What am I gonna do?
Right, yeah. I never want to have that pain. I'll just be like, all right, you're gonna switch your gears, but just like a subtle, like,
it doesn't need to be like,
it's gonna be old honest. All right, I got to work hard tonight, but the material is the material.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
exactly.
No, the old people energy, man.
Oh, man. Have you played any old people shows?
Well, you know what? I've done a lot of cruise ships.
Yeah, that's basically
so they be
the same
old
thing.
and then tight and complaining. I'll be like, oh.
Yeah. And you're like, you're on a cruise. Why should you loosen up?
Man.
Loosen up.
And I hate it when old audiences be like, don't talk about sex. Y'all been smashing for decades. Y'all been sexually active longer than I've been alive. Cut the shit.
I remember my set used to be much dirtier. It's really not. I'm really not dirty anymore. But obviously, that's something that you weed out a little bit more over time. But it was probably about 7 years ago, I did a really big spot in Madison over the holidays, and my grandparents were there, and my best friend and her parents and her grandparents. And I was talking about getting jizz on my face.
Okay.
And my grandpa was laughing his ass off. Yes. And I remember being afraid to look at him. And then I looked over and he was just like, ha, ha, ha.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, thank God. And he was a minister.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, if this
man right here,
and his granddaughter talking about this, and he's a minister, all y'all have nothing.
Nobody else has an excuse.
You have no excuse.
Nobody else has an excuse. This is my grandfather.
Yeah.
Minister, what's his last name?
Weathers.
Man, Minister Weathers? He's weathering the storm of jizz on his granddaughter's
That was the name of their ministry.
Yes.
Weathering the storm.
Weathering the storm.
That is so funny. You just pulled that out of your ass like that. Weathering the Storm's campground, and they had like campouts and stuff.
Oh man, he's a good minister. Then I can already tell.
Yeah,
because he's not judgmental.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of that in the church environment, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's definitely its own crowd too. I played the Bible Belt a couple years ago. And that was the hardest show I've ever had in my life. Hardest show I've ever had in my life.
The biblical tightness.
Yep.
Woo. And that's what we signed up for, man. We don't know what kind of environments
exactly.
we walk into.
Exactly.
You never can tell. And that's what keeps me excited about stand-up is like, you never know how it's going to turn out. And that keeps me from getting bored.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So anything can happen on any night.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's why I'm looking forward to playing in St. Croix this week because I'm like, you know, I know it's a kickoff to Memorial Day weekend too,
Yeah.
so I'm like, these fuckers are going to be getting crazy drunk,
they're gonna
and
be
it's
lit.
going to be fun.
Oh, lit. The show's on Friday?
On Thursday.
On Thursday, okay. And then you're going to hang out for the weekend?
I'm going to hang out for the weekend. I was invited to actually crash a wedding on the
out
island.
there?
On the island.
You living the dream.
Living the dream.
Crashing a wedding?
What were some of your, besides, you know, you said you really liked Pryor, et cetera, but what were some of your other inspirations as far as getting into stand-up? Or like even when it came time for you to start creating your channel the way that you did on Instagram, who did you kind of look up to in that regard?
For me, it was like my favorite comedians to watch growing up were Damon Wayans and Sinbad.
Yes.
Like, Sinbad's because
amazing.
He was so funny, man. He still is. And he was clean. So my mom didn't like a lot of cussing. So we could watch that together as a family unit and just die laughing.
Yeah.
And then Damon Wayans, you know, he was edgier. And so I would just die laughing at his edginess and his storytelling and stuff like that. So I always considered myself a merge of the two comedians.
Yeah.
With Seinfeld observations.
Yep.
Because Seinfeld is a big influence on me as well. And so you take those three and then that's because I'll dissect the same topic for a long time like Jerry does.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're so smart when it comes to that.
It'll just be like, I'll just be talking about bugs for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Easy. And so
one of your fly joke, man, is one of my favorites to this day. I just was crying.
Man, you know, I was looking at the fly today. It was a huge one. I was like, ugh, I can see your face. Once you make eye contact with a fly, disgusting.
It changes your life.
Oh my God, the big compound eyes looking at you. But so those were the three, like, you know, because I was watching the Sinbad and Damon Wayans specials, and then I was watching Seinfeld, the show, and I was watching Seinfeld from season 1, like when it was fresh, and even before I got it, I still liked it.
Yeah,
because I was young. I was like, 14 years old when Seinfeld came out, and I was like, I like this. I'm not sure what I like or what I'm getting, but I just like it. And then it got better over time.
Oh, yeah. And
so you take those three, and then they were my comedic influences. Then when I started doing stand-up and I started, doing the social media output, I'm telling you, like, it was just, I want people to hang out on my page like it's a TV network.
Yep.
Like it's you go there, if you turn to TNT, TBS, USA,
you know what kind of brand
something's going to be on.
Yeah.
Some channels, they just show Law and Order all night, all day. USA will do a Law and Order marathon every week, and so it was just, I wanted to make sure that people could come to my page and there's always something on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because some people just post. Some people post like once every 2 weeks or once every month, and it's just like, where you been? Like, and that's good if you're already a celebrity. But if you're trying to build, like, a following, it's got to be constant output.
Or like it's only pictures, and you're like, there's only so much you can get out of a still photo. You need to kind of connect in a different way.
Unless your photos are like Nat Geo or something like spectacular.
Sure, yeah.
Because I still have to get my, I have like three Instagram pages. I have one called Tony Baker Randomly, and that's for me to get my rocks off on taking pictures of what I see, which I was initially doing on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I still have to do that. And then I got Tony Baker Loves Movies, where it's just me doing like movie commentary or just talking about movies.
Yeah.
And so that way you get all your little, outlets covered. And then you got the main page, which is just Tony Baker Comedy, which is everything. And so That's how I view it. Like, you'll get voiceovers, you'll get character sketches, you'll get me going off about, what's going on in the world, memes, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
And what are some of the best opportunities that have come out of you doing this for yourself?
I think it just brings more people out to the shows, and that was my main goal.
Yeah.
My main goal was to get a following on social media so I can get people to come to my show. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, like,
People don't realize the heat behind that.
Yeah.
I mean, there is and there isn't. Like, this is one thing that we learned on our Europe tour, because it was just me and Rachel O'Brien together. Mm-hmm. We put a lot out on social media, and obviously that helped a good chunk with sales. But also direct messaging people that follow us and comment on stuff a lot, that we knew lived in certain areas, that had been like, when are you going to come out here? We would actually connect with them and say, we know you live in Berlin. We're really excited to play in your city. And then they'd come out with like a group of 10 people.
Yes.
But there's people always say that social media can disconnect people, but if you use it properly, that's not the case.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's a very big connective platform.
Absolutely, man.
And I've met people from all over the world because of it.
Yeah.
And now I consider them buddies, know, and so to me, that's a cool thing about it. If you do it right.
If you do it right, it can be great, because I need to get better at, direct messaging people. It's just so much going on that I just lose sight of everything.
Yeah.
And so I wish I was better at, the actual, because a lot of times, people be like, when are you coming to my city? And I was like, I was just there last week.
I just posted about it. How'd you not see it?
They always hit me with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had known. I was like, I've been posting it for
Yeah, I do not see that shit.
Yeah. So I'm just like, that happens all the time. I can post the schedule.
Yep.
Every city, every day, and they be like, "You're not coming to Boston, huh?" I'm like, Boston is literally
right there
on this post.
Right there.
People just don't even see it.
People don't look, and I realized this at a young age, that people don't read signs, because I worked in, I used to work in produce. I used to work on farms when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And we had these like produce stands that we would wear like little pigtails and go sell stuff. And you make signs, and people would come up to you and be like, how much are the beans? You'd be like, right above the beans, it says how much they are.
Right.
And after working in that for like 4 years, I was like, oh, I can never expect anybody to read anything ever again.
No.
So
they got in their head like, I'm going to ask how much these beans are.
Yep.
Well, right past the sign, I'll forget all that. How much for the beans?
People don't read nothing.
Man.
And that's why every contract that I've ever created, I've just bamboozled people out of money because they don't read. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was about to say, this is really
just kidding.
This is really a thing.
I know they don't read shit, so I'm just fucking people over.
$15,000 for the show. It was in the contract.
I added another zero and you didn't check it, so sorry, buddy.
Fault.
It's on you.
That is your fault. The contract is binding.
And when you were younger, did you have any moments where you were like, fuck, I'm never going to amount to anything? Did you have any moments where you for sure were like, what am I doing with my life?
Shoot, as a kid, as an adult, as a full-fledged, even so soon as like 2012. 2012 was when I got divorced, so it was just like, it was all on me now. You know what I mean? And so, LA is expensive.
Yes.
And so I'm like, man, I didn't have a regular job, so it was just like, man, can I live off comedy truly on my own now? No spousal backbone, none of that. And so it was like, man, this is the moment of truth for me. And like all throughout college, man, you got to understand, like, I majored in psychology, didn't like that. There was no passion behind it. I was just taking it it was boring. Switched my major to secondary education science, because I was like, biology's dope. I like biology. I like animals.
Damn, that is a big switch, though.
Yeah, I figure I can teach middle school, high school kids about biology. All right, yeah. I like, I feel like I can perform, in the classroom. And so science classes kicked my ass. When I tell you I was failing tough, chemistry, I failed chemistry twice.
Ooh.
I couldn't get it. Ecology, genetics, they were kicking my ass in the back alley.
Genetics is hard.
Oh.
I took that class too.
Oh.
I was pre-med, and genetics was a fucking, once you look at the breakdown of how chickens are made and their DNA, you're like, how do people even have brains? Like, this is nuts.
How did y'all piece this together? Oh man, it was just those classes tore my soul in half.
Oh,
Astronomy, though, I got an A.
Yeah.
Astronomy, I aced
hard, too.
I aced it. I was like, because I've always been into it since I was a kid.
Yep.
And so I was like, I aced that class, but I was like, man, God. But the math, I knew math. If I pursued astronomy, math is around the corner.
Yep.
And I hated math the whole time.
Yeah, because there was massive equations in astronomy. Because I remember a lot of my friends being like, oh, you're taking astronomy? That's just one of those easy classes about stars. And I was like, it's about the physics of the fucking universe.
Absolutely.
I was like, it's the hardest
You think
class.
this is it? Oh.
I'm like, my teacher was like a NASA rocket. He was.
Man.
I'm like, he built rockets, dude.
Absolutely. You think it's that simple? Mars and Venus. That's all you think.
Yeah. So crazy.
Man, I aced it though because I was into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you love something, you'll obviously it'll show.
Because the thing with math is, outside of my own accounting for my checking account, how I'm living my life, it's just numbers.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm not passionate about that.
Yeah.
And so I switched to secondary ed social studies. So I was like, all right, I can teach history. That's not going to kick my ass.
Yeah.
So I was like, boom, all right. So I can teach kids. And then but then like around that time, I'm doing secondary education. And then I started doing theater. And I was like, man, I love this. I didn't think I would like theater growing up. I just wanted the TV and film.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I would like theater. I did it. I was like, this is so dope.
Yep.
And I did Of Mice and Men. I played the character of Crooks. I won an award for it. And then I did another play right after that. And then I did Fences right after that.
Ooh, you did good ones.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I was a lead in Fences, so it gave me the confidence to know I can memorize all this material. And I need to just go for it. And so we packed up and then moved to LA. And so I didn't even finish my degree because it was like, because I knew myself, if I would have got my degree, I would have been teaching.
Yeah.
I would have came out here, I'd have been teaching, I'd have been coaching, I'd have been teaching, trying to make a difference with these kids. I'd have been doing homework, packets.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have went hard for
what you wanted.
Yeah, because I would have had the...
And you can still coach one day. I mean, Snoop Dogg does it.
Yeah, I can coach. I can just pull up and just coach.
Once you've got your 8th special on whatever network you own by then,
then I can coach.
You'll just be able to coach wherever you want.
Yeah. So it was like... But throughout college, though, when I'm taking L's in classes, I'm failing, I'm just like... And then my ex-wife at the time, we met in college. She was a nursing major. So she knew what she wanted to do from jump. Like high school, she was already taking the classes. She breezed through college in 4 years and got, and I'm over here
There's
fumbling.
a little of me that envies people like that. I'm like, oh, what a cut and dried fucking path for you.
Laser-like focus.
Yeah, you just know exactly... Like for us, we may know exactly what we want to do, but there's 8,000 different roads to get there.
Right.
And so you'll eventually find it, but there's not just like you do this and then you have this job.
There's no blueprint.
There's no blueprint.
There's no sound blueprint for the entertainment industry.
And every day, any sort of path you thought you were going to take, you've got to change gears and go a different direction.
You got to diversify.
Always. Man. Oh, it's so crazy.
Yep.
Were you much of a partier at all when you were young or no?
I went through my party phases like late high school, early college.
Yeah.
It was like, because in high school, me and my boy Mario, we would go to college parties. We were high school kids.
Nice.
Yeah, so we would go to like Portales, New Mexico.
Wow.
It's a metropolis. And so they had a school out there, so we would be in the college parties, and so we would come back to school on Monday. It was like, oh yeah, I went to your little high school party, huh? We was drinking jungle juice with the college
with the old kids,
man, And so, but yeah, we would party because I love a good house party. Mm-hmm. I'm all about a good house party, where your life is on the line. You could get shot in the hips at any moment. You know what I'm saying? Like a dangerous, because at the club, they're going to frisk you. They got metal detectors. At the house party, nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe.
But it's a good time. People making out in the back. It's going down. I like a good house party. And, throughout college, we would go to the club. We would go to Mexico. We would go to Juarez, Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
This is before it got super dangerous. It was already dangerous. they didn't lock it down. And so I swore, I was like, I'm not going to Mexico. I'm not going to Mexico, man. Because you hear about the urban legends. You wake up in the tub, they done took your organs.
Yep.
And so I'm not doing that. And then I ended up going, got drunk. And it was just like, the drinks were cheap.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It was like, man, it was like the last time I went, I drank beer and regular liquor. Horrible combination.
Oh, yeah, always.
And so I was just throw up McGee. Just, we got pulled over by the cops. I'm in the back just like, ugh. I remember the cop put the light on my face and I just threw up outside of the window. So it was on the car. I was like, sorry. And the cop's light was on my face. And he was like, this guy right here. I was like,
oh,
that was the last time I went. And I was like, all right, enough of that. Mm-hmm. But I was never a heavy drinker like that.
Yeah.
But there's about a handful of times where I overdid it.
Same. Yeah, I just drank a lot of beer. And then, in college, we would always go to the older kids' parties, too. Yeah. And that was, they always say, like, beer and smoking weed is, like, a gateway to something. I'm like, we never really cared about any of the other shit.
Yeah, I never did either.
And once I learned how to control drinking and I knew how much I could handle, like, now it's my favorite thing. Like, I mean, because I can have, like, a martini or two and I'm like, cool, I'm an adult having a drink.
Right, yeah.
But I remember that being such a thing back in the day where you just, like, your only mission was to just get really fucked up.
Yeah, you would push it to the limit. And then you would, because I remember we used to drink 40 ounces.
Yep.
And so.
Did you play 40 hands?
No.
No.
I don't even know what that is.
40? Oh, my God. It's such a Wisconsin and Minnesota thing. But you tape 40s to your hands. And you can't take them off until you drink them.
Until you finish?
Yeah.
Wow.
Edward 40 hands, they called it.
140 ounce took me to the brink of destruction.
Yeah.
It'd be like, I'll be perfectly obliterated, but no throw up.
Yeah.
It was anything more, a sip of anything else, I would just,
done.
oh man, but I'd be right there.
Oh my God.
And it was I've always hated beer.
Yeah.
I've always hated beer, but like, when you're a kid, you
that's
just
all you can. That's all you can get, really. Or like Malibu. You can only get the shitty stuff.
Oh, remember Mad Dog 2020?
Oh, we drank so much Mad Dog 2020
that's
back.
the worst.
One of my first jokes in comedy was actually about Mad Dog 2020.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's so bad.
But we were drinking it like, that was just.
It was like mouthwash.
Oh my God.
Straight up mouthwash.
Straight Listerine with a fruit. Let's put some
little
fruit
bit
on
of
this
grape
Listerine.
juice flavor.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was nasty.
Tragic.
Man, sometimes I think back on all the things that just surviving childhood and the fact that we like still have to bust so much ass for a career.
You're right.
I'm like, we've been on the brink of losing our shit for so many years.
Kids start out suicidal. Once they learn how to walk on their own, the suicide begins. They're trying to walk into traffic. They're trying to go to the edge of the cliff. They're trying to put the fork in the outlet. It's like, how can I kill myself in these streets?
My God, and I was even thinking, I feel like I've talked about this brother and sister combo on my podcast in the past, but I babysat when I was young. And there was this brother and sister that would get in such horrific fights that they would pull knives out on each other.
Oh, wow.
So I would have to like jump in between them. And I'm like, can you imagine if I would have like a finger missing and somebody's like, what happened to you? Was it a farming thing? And I'm like, nah, these kids I used to babysit just hacked one of them off on accident because
I lost
they
two
couldn't.
fingers in the breakup. You know what I mean? Like, what
they
kind
couldn't
of
keep
kids
their
are
shit
these?
together. I know, it was crazy.
Man.
And now my parents still know who their parents are, and they were apparently they're just like wonderful, and one's a music teacher, and I'm like, man, you just never know what's going to happen.
You never know how these kids are going to turn out.
Sometimes they just need to get that aggression out, and then they're good, But for a while, they both wanted to stab people.
Oh, my God. That's so creepy, man.
It's
Especially
so
for
creepy.
the babysitter.
Oh, my God.
Ugh.
That's why, and I joke about like not loving kids now, and it's not true. Like I joke about it so much that two of my best friends just had their baby, and she's 2 months, and we were at their house the other day, and I'm holding her. I didn't put her down for hours, and they were like, we thought you hated kids. And I was like, I say that in theory, but like if one's around, obviously, I'm like, it's your kid. It's different than some stranger's annoying kid.
Right.
But I really feel like it comes from the things I joke about from babysitting.
Right.
Because I for a while, I was like, the kids are just not my thing.
Right. You got to play it up. Comedians, we play up what
bothers us.
Yeah, we play it up and amp it up because it makes it funnier,
Yeah.
Because if you go in kind of, kids are all right, kind of, then the audience is like, but when you go in with the strong,
if you're just like, fuck kids, people are like,
oh, snap.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's when you get your pay dirt comedically.
Exactly.
But if you go in there, kids are cool sometimes, and then the audience is like,
okay, we're just,
right.
You got to make those stakes high. I don't, did you ever take acting classes out here?
I took acting class in college. So that was New Mexico State. And then I took, did I take an improv class out? I think I took an improv class in Glendale. Mm-hmm. And then I took another acting class with a guy named Bruce Hickey. He directed a movie from the 80s called, I think, Necropolis or whatever.
Oh, shit.
And so
I know that movie.
he was the director of that.
That's hilarious.
And so I think that's the name of the movie, if I'm not mistaken.
It's something like that. I recognize the
80s
name.
joint, yeah. And he would have acting classes at his apartment on Saturday mornings.
Yep.
And so I would come in from Orange. That's when I was living in Orange. And just take his acting class. And I liked it because there wasn't that many students in there, so it was like very hands-on. And so I was like, all right, yeah. And then I ended up going back to him again like some years later. Same apartment.
Yep.
And then I think that might have been the last one that I've taken on act. But I'm rusty, man. I'm overdue for acting class.
Well, I just when I first moved out here, I was doing Leslie Kahn for a number of years, and I just remember them always being like, "Steaks!" Like they would just yell from the corner, "Steaks!" And I just always remembered that.
The steaks.
Like they would yell steaks, and I remember being like, "Is Oprah hungry?" I don't know. Steaks? What?
Steaks with sirloin or just ribeye?
I don't know why the image of Oprah always comes into my head. And I hear somebody yelling.
Somebody
steaks.
yells, "Steaks!" Like Oprah's giving away free steaks. The steaks,
she just gives
steaks are everything, though.
Yeah, but then I remember that even when I was starting to try to change up my stand-up, I was like, I just got to really raise these steaks.
Raise the steaks.
Put them steaks out there.
Yeah, that's funny, though, because it makes sense. It's like when you watch a comedian and they have their strong stance on the stakes, they're raising the stakes, then the audience is all in, whether they agree or not.
Yeah.
It's still like, but if you go in there kind of, it's kind of, stuff is kind of cool, but kind of not.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Everybody's like, whatever.
Well, that's what, like, even my fiance was like, how much are you going to rip on our relationship in the stand-up special? And I was like, well, probably a lot, because if it was supposed to be my wedding day, I've got to.
Right.
You
gotta go into that.
But I'm not going to make you sound bad. It's all going to make me sound bad.
Right. Yeah. So
but,
like, all right, man.
But we got to put it up there.
Right. Do you feel like, because we talk about everything on stage, and it's like, especially being a comedian that's not like a political comedian or a comedian that talks about topical stuff. When we go into our lives and like, we talk about family members, boyfriend, girlfriend, spouses, do you ever feel bad like, hate to put you on blast, but here's the material?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I used to. There's been stuff I've wanted to write about my mom a lot of times that I just was like, fuck, I don't think she can handle that. Yeah. And it sucks because I want, and about my parents' marriage.
Yeah.
There's some stuff about my parents' marriage that I really wanted to delve into in this, but I was like, I know they're going to be there.
Right.
And as much as you shouldn't give a shit, you have to also know at the end of the day, you love these people.
I give a shit. I wanted to not give a shit.
Yeah, I wish I didn't, but there's plenty of other material that I have that I'm like, nobody's going to be the wiser.
Right.
And I can make fun of them a little without like harming them.
Right.
I make fun of my grandma a lot, and she loves it.
Okay.
She eats it up.
Yeah.
And my fiance just doesn't, like, he's always known he just doesn't have a choice. And that no matter what I say about him, I'm going to turn it to make me look like the bad guy.
Yeah.
So he's always rested sure that, like, he's going to live in this safe space with it, But
he was worried, though.
Yeah, I mean, because when I first started dating him, I used to rip on my ex.
Okay.
but then your ex becomes old news and your current becomes news.
That's the new material right there. So he was like,
oh, fuck. But he hated hearing about my ex, too, over and over again. So when I started talking about him, it was like this catch-22. I was like, well, I either talk about him or I talk about you.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, all right.
I'll take it.
I'll let you talk about me.
I'll take it. Yeah. And that, because I've never been on the other side. Like, I've never dated a comedian. So it's like, I wonder how I would feel if I was the,
recipient.
Well, yeah. So like, how would I take it? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I always wonder that. And, because like it was stuff about my mom. I asked her though. I was like, would you mind if I talked about this period? She was like, I kind of wish you wouldn't. Because,
and you're like, damn it, I really want
to. And I have to honor that. And so, because I had tested it out. And there was some nice comedic nuggets in there.
Yep.
But she was just like, I kind of wish you wouldn't. I was like, all right.
But then you can take stuff like that and make like something that's a sketch. So it's inspired by somebody,
right,
but not directly about them. Because I've thought about that too. There's definitely certain stories I'm hanging on to like put into something that I've written for film or TV.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to get you somehow. Yeah. I'm just not going to make it so obvious.
Because it's so rich though.
Yes.
Like the real life material, you got to use it.
Yep. I mean, that's like, unless you're like one of those, unless you're like a Jeselnik where you can just like curate everything from just your brain.
Right.
Like he's a genius when it comes to that.
Right, absolutely.
Most people I know have to infuse like most of their life into their stand-up.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, yeah.
I have to draw from like real stuff.
Same.
Like when I host the show, I just talk about what I've been going through since the last show.
Yeah.
Because when you host, you're just free to just go everywhere, and that's how I write. I write on stage anyway.
Yeah.
So I need that.
Same. Same.
I tell any comedian if they want to get stronger as a comedian, you have to host a show.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but it hosting a show, oh man,
gives you so much freedom. And people still, I know a lot of people that say I don't like to host. And I'm like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, take the opportunities where you can.
Man.
Because it does give you the opportunity to work out new stuff without really putting the weight behind it.
Absolutely. The pressure's off you because, you're just moving the show along.
As long as you're in a good headspace and you're being positive and fun and engaging.
Getting more comfortable on stage. You can go in and out of material and the crowd work whenever you want. And it's just, me hosting Crack 'em Up Thursdays for 3 years helped me enormously.
Oh, I'm sure.
It helped me just
every
tremendously.
Week. Yeah.
Every week I was just up there like.
That's massive.
Yeah. And so
That'll get you strong
people,
real fast.
So it was like, it just got me more comfortable. So now when I do the Comedy Store at 1 a.m, there's 15 people in there. I'm just like, here we go.
Yeah,
and it's just,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and people just need to, because these are waves that you go in, obviously, as a performer. Because I did have a couple years where I was like, I shouldn't be getting offered hosting jobs. And then after about 6 months to a year of having that be my mentality, I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, I needed to be saying yes to everything always until I'm at the point, obviously with stuff that you're like headlining and able to get more income off of stuff like that. But it's you got to just put your whiny britches away and,
and just take
that time.
Take it, because I was accepting everything, and then I've turned down hosting spots.
Sure.
Like, can you host? I don't want to be there all night, but I'm getting older, so I'm just like, it's gonna be too late. But I host a show every month, so I get my hosting exercise in every month. So it's like,
totally,
yeah, man.
Well, what do you have coming up that you're excited about? This does come out tomorrow, so it's current.
I'm excited about a few things, actually. The Real Comedians and Social Media Comedy Tour is still going.
Yep.
We got a bunch of cities left. You can go to my website, TonyBakerComedy.com. You can get tickets to your city. Atlanta's sold out, though, in Philly. Also, my YouTube page, I do like movie reviews and stuff like that on there, sketches as well. I got a Patreon page. There's going to be exclusive stuff on there. And also, I have 2 specials. Scaredy Cat, you can buy on iTunes or Google Play. And then a special from the Real Comedians Social Media Tour last year. I sell that special. It's just a quick 25-minute set for $7. That's available on my website as well. And,
That's great.
Yeah, so, because it was like, because it was shot so well, I was like, man, I might as well just sell this.
Yeah.
Because,
well, anything is content. I mean, it's, and people even message me about sets of mine that they're finding that are really old. I try to keep stuff off the YouTube that's old.
I feel like I got too much on there, yeah.
But some of it is posted by a club or whatever, and I'm like, you know what? It's fine. If they see me 7 years ago, it's not going to make them hate me now. Like, but they'll still message me and be like, man, that was killing me. And I was like, oh, I'm glad. Now you can come see me even funnier.
Even funnier now. If you like that 7-year-old clip, check me out now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where can everybody find most of your stuff, or what's the best website to catch
TonyBakerComedy.com. TonyBakerComedy.com will link you into everything else I got going on. So just go to TonyBakerComedy.com. You'll find the Instagram page, the YouTube page, the Patreon, the Facebook page.
All the above.
Everything's linked in.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Absolutely. And I'm excited about this iPod.
I'm so excited too, man. You're going to rediscover all these old jams that you haven't heard in so long.
Yeah. Because I got Chance the Rapper's Acid Rap on here.
Ooh.
Because you can't, he's not on Apple Music, that album.
Yep.
And so it's only on this iPod. And so I'm like, I've been missing
You're going to have a nostalgic night listening to that.
It's a rap, man.
It's 2017 all over again, baby.
Yes, I'm back. Time Machine, Doc and Marty.
Oh my God, I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
And you can find me at NPH Comedy. You can follow the podcast at Future Role Model or Role Model Pod on Twitter.
Yes.
Stay tuned for my special. Anybody that listens to this in Madison, Wisconsin, please get your tickets. It's limited to 160 guests because it was supposed to be my wedding, and that was the size of my guest list.
Yes.
And and 60 of those are already gone. So we have 100 seats left. So Madison, Wisconsin, get after it.
Going down.
Any final remarks closing out?
Yeah, just if anybody's listening, as far as like, you want to get your following up on anything, man, or just anything, just be consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency is the key to any type of success story. I mean, you'll find the one here and there. Well, I just walked into this. But usually,
rarely.
I just walked into it, and then, my life changed. But like, usually consistency is the key to everything, man.
Yep.
Don't stop.
Never stop.
Don't stop. Unless you're really just tired of this shit, and then stop.
I think that's the perfect thing to stop on.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just stop. All right.
Bye.